Title: She demanded half my house, then lawyered up when I said no. Chapter 1. A dream built on one name. Carla and I had been together for 3 years, and for most of that time, we were partners in every sense. Emotionally, practically, financially. We moved into a cramped apartment 2 years ago. It wasn't much: dim lighting, paper-thin walls, a kitchen that always smelled vaguely of old takeout, but we made it our own. We split everything down the middle. Utilities, groceries, streaming subscriptions. Even though I worked in tech and made more, I never saw a reason to keep score. I had been saving for a house since long before we met. Quietly, diligently. A down payment was always the goal. So when rent started rising faster than our salaries, the idea of buying stopped being someday and became something real. Carla was on board. We'd spend weekends looking at listings, walking through open houses, dreaming about backyard barbecues and which room would be the office. But then came the pre-approval process. The mortgage broker looked at both our finances and laid it out plainly. Together, we'd be approved for maybe $350,000. But if I applied solo, I could be approved for up to $500,000. The difference wasn't just numbers. It meant safer neighborhoods, better-built homes, less renovation stress, and more long-term value. When I brought it up, Carla was hurt. She felt excluded, maybe even betrayed. I tried to explain, it wasn't personal, it was strategic. With her student loans and average credit, we'd be limiting ourselves unnecessarily. She took time to process it, but eventually said she understood. So I applied a loan. I put down every cent of my $75,000 savings. Paid for the inspection, closing costs, all of it. She helped with moving and a few pieces of furniture, but the house? That was mine. Still, I believed we were building something together. Then, at the closing table, with my pen in hand and the papers laid out, Carla smiled and asked, "So when do I get added to the deed?" Chapter 2. A line between us. That moment, the way she said it so casually, like it was already decided, sent a chill through me. I reminded her, gently but firmly, that we had agreed. Only my name would be on the mortgage and deed. That was the entire basis for the larger approval amount. The house wouldn't exist in our lives at all if I hadn't qualified solo. She looked stunned. "I thought that was just for the mortgage," she said. "Not the deed." I tried to explain the difference, how legal ownership implies shared risk, shared liability, and yes, shared reward. But she hadn't taken the financial risk. She didn't provide the down payment. If things ever went south between us, she could walk away with half a house and none of the debt. She didn't argue much in the moment. But over the next few weeks, something shifted. Carla started tracking every expense. Groceries, light bulbs, even laundry detergent. She'd make little remarks about renting space in my house. I reminded her that I wasn't charging her rent. We still split the utilities like we always did. Nothing had changed, except the paperwork. Then she brought up her parents. They were offering to give her $50,000. A contribution, so she could be added to the deed and feel like the house was truly ours. I thanked her for the offer, but declined. I didn't want to be financially entangled with her family. Too many complications. Too many voices and decisions that should belong to us. But something in her eyes shifted when I said no. That's when she confessed she'd already spoken to a lawyer. Not just for advice, but to find out how to establish legal ownership if I wouldn't give it willingly. That night I didn't sleep. Chapter 3. Lawyers, ledgers, and love lost. What Carla did next wasn't just shocking. It felt like a betrayal of everything we'd built. She told me the lawyer had suggested she document every financial contribution, no matter how small. If she could prove she was helping pay for household expenses or even part of the mortgage, she might be able to claim equity in the house later. That's why she was saving all those receipts. Why she started photographing her share of the electric bill. It wasn't just paranoia. It was legal prep. And it got worse. Her parents came over unannounced one Saturday morning. I opened the door to her dad's stern face and her mom's tightly clutched purse. They sat me down and said they wanted to talk about the future. Her father said he was concerned for Carla's stability, her security. That it wasn't fair for her to live in a house without protections. Her mother offered the money again and asked if they could help rectify the imbalance. I explained again, I had taken on the risk. The debt. The responsibility. This wasn't a matter of selfishness. It was about fairness. But her father cut in sharply. Then maybe you're not as committed to this relationship as you think. That stung. Because I was committed. That house wasn't a bachelor pad, it was a home and I bought it for us. I just didn't expect to be strong-armed into signing away half of it. Carla didn't say a word during the conversation. Just stared at the floor while her parents negotiated on her behalf like I was buying a used car and refusing to budge on the price. That night, I asked her why she'd told them everything. Why she made me out to be cold, greedy, unloving. She said she needed support. But it didn't feel like support. It felt like an ambush. Chapter 4, Signing Off. The final straw came with a document. An actual legal agreement Carla had drafted with her lawyer. A cohabitation contract, wrapped in legalese and false fairness. According to it, any future mortgage payments she made would buy her ownership. But not just that, her past payments for groceries and shared expenses would retroactively count toward her equity. And if we broke up? I'd be forced to either buy out her share at current market value or sell the house and split the profit. It was a trap. A clever, premeditated one. I refused. Carla said I was stubborn. That I never saw her as an equal partner. That I was just using her until someone better came along. But here's the thing. Being in a relationship doesn't mean automatic entitlement to someone else's assets. Love isn't a contract. Support isn't a down payment. And security isn't something you gain by trying to force legal ownership through threats and manipulation. She packed her things 2 days later. I didn't ask her to leave. She just realized I wouldn't budge. As she closed the door behind her for the last time, I sat in the quiet and let the emptiness settle. Not just in the house but in my chest. I loved her. But I loved myself enough not to give up everything I'd worked for just to keep someone who didn't trust me in the first place. Sometimes walking away isn't failure. It's the most powerful way to say, you don't get to rewrite the rules just because love didn't go your way. Chapter 5, After she left. The house feels different now. Quiet, yes. But not peaceful. There are still traces of her everywhere. Her shampoo in the shower, her handwriting on a grocery list pinned to the fridge, that coffee mug she insisted on keeping by the sink no matter how many times I moved it to the cupboard. And somehow, even in her absence, she's still here. In echoes. In memories. I haven't touched her side of the closet. Not yet. Maybe because part of me still can't believe how everything unraveled. How the woman I loved, the woman I pictured a future with, slowly turned into someone who saw me as a financial opportunity instead of a partner. I've had friends tell me I did the right thing. That I protected myself. That I should be proud for standing firm. And maybe they're right. But it doesn't stop the ache. The ache of realizing that love, no matter how real it felt, isn't always enough. That trust, once broken, can't always be repaired with apologies or contracts or 3 a.m. conversations that go in circles. Carla texted me once since she left. Just one line. I still think you chose money over us. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I deleted the message. Because no, this was never about money. It was about principles. About protecting something I built with years of discipline and sacrifice. Something I was willing to share, just not under threats or legal traps. She wanted half the house. But I realized what I truly needed was a whole partner. And that's something no deed could guarantee. So now I start over. With silence. With space. With clarity. And maybe, eventually, with someone who wants to build with me, not claim what's already mine.